Now everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Everybody, Cantonese Cat here. I'm gonna do a quick video on some of the requests that my YouTube members are asking, just to kind of summarize the week. I can't really do these during weekdays as much, but I'm gonna try to fulfill them in the weekends as much as I can. ASTS. This stock has been asked by many people for over the last few months. The reason why is because it's gone parabolic. And when somebody asked me about it, I think back in August or September, I thought that this is not something that you really want to get into, especially when the monthly candle looked like that. I was really kind of worried about the stock. It's just spent 4 months back to back way outside the upper bowl in Japan. Generally, that's not a good sign. When I see something like this, it reminds me of what MicroStrategy did during the last cycle, where it kind of spent 4 monthly candles way outside the upper bowl in Japan, and that wick right here was never to be suppressed until many years later, right? Even though it could potentially be a very good stock, even though the fundamentals can be extremely bullish over time, there's always a possibility where you might end up pulling years of gains ahead of time with this giant move like this, right? Now, with that said, it's hard for me to know whether or not it's going to keep on going up, and I think it will probably end up going up based on what I'm seeing, because what I'm seeing here is I see big volume up and low volume down, and I'm currently right now, these are monthly candles, and we have the November candle over here, which is still going to take a few weeks before this candle finally printed right? But so far you got a little bit of, and it's not exactly perfect, but this so far it's got a little bit of like a rising 3 kind of look to it. Rising 3 methods generally means that it's basically a cooling down kind of thing, where you have 3 candles that are kind of inside candles to the one that was previous. And whenever you're done kind of consolidating sideways over here, this is basically a big giant bull flag. Whenever you're done consolidating sideways over here, you're going to end up having a reverse move that could potentially be pretty powerful and be engulfing all these 3 bearish engulfing candles. They don't always have to work out. And it can always be possible that this candle end up breaking down underneath this candle over here, and that might potentially invalidate this idea. But the idea is there. I think it might just be consolidating sideways just because it's just way outside the monthly upper bowl in Japan. It's just not sustainable. And this move is completely warranted. It's finding critical support right now on the monthly Tenkin and Kijun, right? And it's also at some pretty important juncture here. In addition to it being at the Tenkin and Kijun, it's also right at the 0.786 right here. It's right at the 0.786. So it's finding critical support, it's breaking above, getting rejected at the 1.618, finding support at 0.786. This is generally how stocks have bullish continuation. Now, do I think that it's going to end up making a giant move like it did all the way from like $2 all the way to like $40? No. I think this is going to be a little bit more of like an exhaustive move. It might end up making to like your 2.618, 3.618, around like $63, $86, or somewhere in between, somewhere in the arc up here. It's certainly possible. I think 2.618 might be where it end up going to, and that's not a bad gain from here. It's like almost a triple, right? But if you're hoping for like big giant gain like this to happen, I'm not sure if it necessarily would be able to do that, just because a lot of people who end up bought down here around $2, they're going to want to look for exit, and they might also want to look for like a final pump to really try to exit. So I'm a little bit worried about how overextended it is, but it is at support, at critical support, 0.786 monthly Tenkin and Kijun. You have a katana. If this katana turns out to be valid, then sure, I mean, stock can blow up to like hundreds of dollars. It's possible. I don't know anything about this company, and whenever I see a monthly Tenkin, that's generally a monthly katana where the Tenkin and Kijun, the red and blue line fuses, that's generally pretty favorable. It also got about the monthly Ichimoku cloud, but I just don't know whether or not this is going to be favorable for years to come, and you might end up breaking down underneath of this. I just don't know, because this really does remind me of like what Bitcoin has done over the years. You can have something that looks very bullish and find support, but ends up eventually breaking down, right? So I still see that at least probably gonna have another move up, maybe to the 60s, maybe to the 80s, but I think that's probably it for the stock based on what I'm seeing. I could be very wrong. I'm just based on like kind of technical analysis based on what I'm seeing, and also based on fractals of what I'm seeing in the past with something like this. If the company has like absolutely crazy fundamentals, then this could just be like a consolidation sideways, and it could potentially go up to the hundreds, and this could just be wave one, wave two, and then you can have like a very powerful wave three. It just keeps on going to the hundreds and the thousands. I don't know, but do I want to enter this stock based on the technicals alone? I wouldn't. I'm a little bit wary about this big giant move over here, and that it might have pulled a lot of gains already forward. I just don't like to chase, but again, rising three, finding critical support, probably not a move up. I just don't know how much. Is going to be like 60s, 80s, hundreds before it ends. I don't know. I don't like to chase. There are a lot of other opportunities that I like to try to grab from closer to the bottom. So that's kind of what I feel about ASTS. A couple of other requests here too. Somebody asked about Zcash. I haven't looked at this ticker for like forever. If you ask me about Zcash, all I'm gonna say is it's just been making like lower highs and lower lows. It's just making a lower low over here. It's pumping. It's probably gonna do okay, but you might end up having a subdued gain if you're into the market. I've charted this before. When you asked me about this back in like October or August or something like that, I thought that it was gonna make a little bit of a move like this, and I still do. That still hasn't changed. The only issue is I think that it's going to hit some pretty strong resistance here at the upper part of the Ichimoku cloud. So you're probably going to get rejected here at the Kijun around like $58. It's probably going to come back down to this zone over here around like maybe 45, back test it, and then go up here to this bear market trend line, and also to the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud over here. That's where I probably think it's going to go. So 46, right now it's 47, go up to 120 to 110. It's not a bad gain, but I just probably wouldn't enter Zcash at this point, just because it might not give you the gains that other crypto may be able to give you. So that's kind of what I'm seeing. Again, I could be wrong, but that's kind of what I'm seeing. If you're talking about the Solana coin, another one that has been requested by one of my YouTube members, it looks bullish. It looks like it wants to keep on going. And this is a whole like very bullish structure. It looks like it wants to keep going higher. And I don't really have much to chart because it hasn't really been around for that long. The higher lows and higher highs certainly means that probably the trend will continue to go up higher. If you ask me how high it's going to go, that's going to be a very, very difficult question to answer, because there really hasn't been any like price history to really be able to try to figure it out. So I'm going to base on what I have here on the price history. I'm going to try and draw again square here and try and give an idea in terms of what I think about SUI, if I'm even saying it correctly. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do this Gantt square here with 180 and 1, and you can see that it's breaking above resistance here, so it probably would end up going higher. It'll probably end up hitting like the horizontal zone up here around 4.2, and probably end up hitting an arc up here too over the next few months around like $8 or so. Maybe even hitting 15, but how far would this go? I really don't know. I think it's already pulled a lot of gains from like 30 cents all the way to like $3. It's already 10x. It could potentially make another 10x for the cycle. I can see that happening, but you still have a lot of resistance that you need to break through. The trend favors the upside though. I don't think there's any question about that, right? The trend really favors the upside. If you're looking at the Bollinger Band, the weekly Bollinger Band is now like fully expanded all the way down to the bottom. Like I can't even see it. You're going to have some pretty impulsive bullish continuation that's going to keep on happening, even though it's overextended. But the trend is very bullish. I think that I wouldn't even have to worry unless if the lower Bollinger Band starts to come back, right? Over here, lower Bollinger Band starts to come back around February 2024. If you look at the price over here, what happened in February 2024? Well, it started to kind of go consolidating sideways, right? And whenever you start to see Bollinger Band really comes back to life, that's when you're worried that, hey, maybe it's getting a little bit toppy here, right? So I think right now we're not really needing to worry about that because the Bollinger Band is all the way down to the bottom. Probably got some gains to go. Maybe check back with me later, and we'll follow the weekly Bollinger Band and see what it does. I have a feeling it's going to go up higher. I just don't know when it's going to end. So anyway, those are the 3 requests that I have. Hopefully I'll be able to kind of take off the rest of the weekend and not do these requests anymore. But if you have any, keep them coming. I'll try to fulfill them as much as I can. Take care. Bye.